Hello, everyone. Welcome to this live. I'm going to wait a few minutes till I see a few people get in before we get started and also do a quick technical check to make sure everything is going as planned. If you enter and you are able to type me a message, could you let me know where you are listening from? I'll just give it a few minutes for people to join before I get started today. Looks like we have about 18 people in here now. If you are able to comment and say hello, tell me who you are, where you're from. We're going to get started here in just a minute. I'm just double checking that we are technically savvy here and everything live on YouTube and LinkedIn. This is my first time going live on both platforms. I've done a lot of lives in other places, but I'm super excited that you are all joining me today. I know many of you. Hi, Laurel. Thank you for being here. Hi, Carissa. Um, Thank you so much for being here today. We're going to talk about the relationship between marketing, sales, and customer success. This presentation is really for anyone that's interested in education or ed tech, but specifically, I'll be thinking about my audience of transitioning educators that are thinking about trying to get into this space. So I appreciate all the comments. Laurel is actually part of my current Classroom to Boardroom winter cohort. So I really appreciate you being here, Laurel, and giving me that extra support today. Thank you. It means a lot to me. Hi, Aaron and Aaron. I see people from Illinois. I'm also from Illinois, not far from you, Aaron. So today we're going to talk about this relationship. And so I'm going to start off by, hi, Carrie, Kimberly. Oh my gosh, thank you all so much for the support from LinkedIn, all of you that are currently in my cohort. I'm so glad you're here. Thank you for being here. Um, we are going to talk about this relationship for about 15 minutes. I'll do some direct instruction. I like to use my teacher lingo. And then I'm going to open it up for questions. So as you are listening to me, if you have a question, you can put it in the chat and I'll try to answer those after the presentation. Okay, so let me just get us set up here. This is my first time using a new tool called StreamYard. And so I like to be kind of gutsy and just go for it sometimes with new technology. So let's rock and roll. It seems like it's flowing to both places. So, hi there. If you haven't met me, I'm Carrie Conover, the founder of Educators to Educators and Classroom to Boardroom. Both missions of both companies is to help teachers love their careers again. So, on the Educators to Educators side, teachers that are sticking it out in the classroom, we have all types of support, such as Teacher Summer Reboot, a membership site that teachers can join to keep themselves in the profession and feeling good about their lives in the classroom and outside the classroom. And then I also am the founder of Classroom to Boardroom, which helps teachers who are ready to take on a new career outside of the classroom. Today, we're going to start out by talking about the relationship between marketing, sales, and customer success. As I mentioned, this is the first time I'm using StreamYard. So if you see any glitches or anything, just let me know in the comments. I'll be checking in to make sure that the live goes smoothly. Today, we're going to cover the sales funnel, and we're going to go into detail about how these three types of roles, marketing, sales, and customer success, work together. Feel free again to ask questions on the side. I'll stop and answer those questions after I get through my presentation. So let's start out with a couple of trends. I've been working with transitioning teachers for, 3 years now. And let's start off with a couple of trends that I definitely notice, especially teachers first coming into this transition space. Number one is teachers naturally go towards learning design, curriculum design when they think, okay, I want to leave the classroom. And that's great for some people, but I think a lot of times teachers don't realize there's so many other roles out there that they could naturally transition into. Number two, Teachers struggle to adjust to working in a for-profit revenue generating environment. I struggled with this too. I taught for 10 years in Chicago public schools, and I also worked for a nonprofit, the Chicago Symphony Orchestra, before I went into the for-profit world. And whether you're actually working for a nonprofit or a for-profit, um, outside of the school system, like you have to adjust to, we need to make money to survive. Even if we're still helping people and schools and kids, your business has to be generating revenue to keep the lights on. And it's just a mindset shift. And the third thing kind of goes along with that is teachers think it's going to be hard to talk about money. I was like, I could never negotiate or talk about money. And then, like, I was one of the top closers at the startup I worked at. So you can do it. This was definitely the story of one of my former classroom to boardroom students, Olivia, who came into classroom to boardroom kind of on the quieter side and never thought she could talk about money and sales. She got her first role at Scholastic in inside sales. She's been there for 2 years. She just sent me a message catching up with me and how amazing she's doing. She's killing it over there. You should listen to her story if you haven't over on the Classroom to Boardroom podcast. So let's talk about the hard truth. For companies to exist, they have to bring in money. And if they don't, there's no company, they can't employ people, and they can't help schools. So, a question for all of you to answer in the chat is, who is ultimately responsible for bringing in revenue to a company? So, what do you think? Who is ultimately responsible in an ed tech company for bringing that money in? Go ahead and tell me in the chat. So, really, everyone is ultimately responsible. Product, training. I mean, everyone really at the end of the day is contributing to bringing in revenue, right? But the people who are the closest to the revenue generation are marketing, sales, and customer success. So if you don't want to think about money and you don't want to think about revenue, this space is probably not for you. Now, you're going to think about it on other teams, but sales, marketing, and customer success are really the ones that are ultimately looking at that revenue bottom line. And each company really designs its own sales funnel, but the way I teach it through Classroom to Boardroom is in a 3-stage process that pretty much every company is going to follow. Like they might have a 6-stage process, their pipeline might look different, but we're going to look at it through this lens. So I'm going to pull up a diagram here for you to look at. And so the 3 types of a funnel, so you're literally thinking about this like as a funnel. Stuff goes in the top of the funnel and then is pushed through the bottom of the funnel. So the first part is awareness and discovery. The second part is interest and engagement. And the third part is decision and purchase. So, excuse me, in the sales journey, in the sales pipeline, the top of the funnel is when prospects, AKA school districts or schools or educators, discover a brand, a solution, or a product for the very first time. It's an opportunity at that top of that funnel to create a narrative and explain your value, the service of your product. So, like, I was just at FETC covering the exhibit hall, and there were companies there that I had never seen before. So, it's that first touch. And at this stage, people are going to interact either at a conference with online content, maybe a TikTok, come across a landing page. They're going to hear about the product from maybe a fellow superintendent or teacher. There's a ton of ways that they might come in first contact with your company. And that is the top where the marketing team is really working to fill the pipeline, fill people into the top of that funnel. So the goal of the EdTech marketing team is to promote their products and services and design and show through different things, different social media landing pages that, hey, this product might be a good fit. So their job is, the primary job of the marketing team is to create awareness about the products and services. they're also generating and starting to qualify leads, like, "Hey, hey, sales team, this might be a great fit for you. Get in touch with the school district." The sales team shares some of that responsibility as well. And what one part of marketing that is often not talked about is actually where the marketing team, works hand in hand with the sales team throughout the process, but then also with the customer success and implementation teams after they've been customers, because they want to work to turn those customers into evangelists of the company over time so that they're willing to do webinars. They're willing to write a case study, tell their colleagues about it. I mean, that is the ultimate goal, is to turn a customer into an evangelist. So they would work closely with customer success to do that. Now, again, remember, every single company is set up differently. So I personally worked at two very different companies. I worked at a startup, eSpark Learning, for 3 years in various roles in customer success and sales. And then I also worked for Discovery Education as a director of customer success. So I had an entire region of the United States that my team worked as a customer success, and I worked very closely with the sales and marketing team. Those companies were set up very, very differently. They were set up in totally different ways, but this type of funnel was remained the same. The structure of how this works remains the same through pretty much any business. I'm just going to check in for 1 second to make sure our live is still streaming in LinkedIn. It is. Thank you for everyone that is here. It's really great to see all of your comments. I really appreciate you being here. So after the marketing job, or the marketing team is really filling the top of that pipeline, the sales team comes in, okay? And they're going to take on, in some companies, some of this pipeline filling by doing um, cold calling, where they're literally picking up the phone and trying to get a hold of someone at the school to sell to them. So they will do some of that top of the line pipeline filling. But when prospects, okay, so customers or prospective customers move from the top of the funnel to the middle of the funnel, and let me pull that back up for us to all look at, into the interest and engagement part, the middle part, this is where your sales team is really going to kick in, especially your account executives. And so at this point, the decision makers from these companies are probably interested in learning more about your product. They probably may have the money to purchase a product to solve their problem, but they're not sure yet that it is you that they want to work with. And so it's the sales team's job to recognize what is their budget, what are they looking for, and make sure that it is going to be a good fit. Especially when you're working in schools, you don't want to sell schools a product that's not going to help their teachers and kids. So in the sales journey, the decision and process stage, the bottom here, is when prospects are ready to become customers. So they have been introduced to what you offer, they understand how it solves their pain points, and at this point, you've probably allowed them to maybe explore some of their competitors, but yours is the best fit and they have the budget to start negotiating. And so this is where you close the deal. So you might know that sometimes companies will ring a bell when they close a deal. It's a very happy moment, especially for companies that are just getting started. Also, though, here in the bottom of the funnel is where you see a lot of heartbreak that can happen for sales, especially executives that are responsible for closing a certain amount of dollars in a year. They may have spent hours and hours, traveled, done all of these things to try to close a deal, and the rug is just completely pulled out from under them. So I will say those people that are successful in sales have a lot of grit, a lot of patience, and are able to accept that defeat, get back on their feet, and go at it again. And a lot of times those customers will come back a year later. Um, so the sales team is ultimately pushing them through this funnel to purchase. And sales is a great career path, by the way, for anyone who's passionate about really communication. So I just was talking to someone who has sales experience that's currently in my classroom to boardroom cohort. And she had worked a little bit in sales in the past, and she was a former teacher. And she's like, I just realized sales is really be the ability to communicate and be likable. And she's not wrong. So it's really good for anyone that is really a great communicator, passionate about building relationships, and driving results. At the beginning of many careers for salespeople, they will start, and I can't go into all the roles of all these positions. I'm actually currently working on a study guide, that will be in my new store that's launching this spring, and it'll also be available to everyone in Classroom to Boardroom. But it's a study guide to learn all this different terminology so you go into interviews, prepared. So you could be a sales development representative or a BDR, and they're the ones that are really out there with the marketing team, cold calling and finding potential customers. And usually, account executives and above are the ones that are actually closing the deals. So, how does customer success go into all of this? So, customer success, their job is to once that decision and purchase is made. And so a lot of times when I was working at customer success in at Discovery Education and eSpark Learning, I I was responsible myself for closing deals. And that was kind of the end of the customer success journey. So let me start from the beginning. So a customer success manager, depending on the size of the company and the way customer success is set up, can have very different roles. So you could be in charge of implementation, you could be in charge of some tech. When I was a customer success manager, I was literally setting up software and iPads, as well as doing training, as well as talking about contracts and budget. I mean, I was a Jill of all trades. And so customer success, though, the ultimate goal is to keep customers happy, make sure they're implementing the products and they're coming back for more. In a customer success job, you're going to have a lot of relationship building. You're going to help with a lot of problem solving. And this often begins before the customer even signs the contract. Now, how I realized I was really good at closing deals and how my company realized this is they started taking me on sales meetings. And the next thing you know, everybody wanted me to go on a sales meeting. And why? Because I had spent so much time on customer success. I was a former teacher for 10 years. I knew the nooks and crannies and everything about our product. And so when a teacher or a superintendent maybe was challenging something or didn't understand something, they often looked to me to explain it because I had been in their shoes before. So they would be there often to answer questions about implementation. And then once that contract is signed, it's great because then there's already a relationship built there with that customer success manager or the success team. And then they set into high gear to get that product implemented and then make sure that they've trained everyone and everyone is, going to implement that product successfully. So within customer success, at a smaller company, sometimes the CSMs are doing training, the implementation training. At a larger company like Discovery Education, we literally had an entire team we deployed that just did professional training on the products. So to summarize, if you're a customer success account owner, you're going to partner with sales and you're going to partner with marketing because you're going to want to eventually get such successful companies or successful clients and customers that your marketing team can swoop in and turn them into evangelists and tell their story. So every company set up differently. Don't forget that. Sometimes customer success people are responsible for renewals and expansions, and sometimes they're only responsible for the implementation and the happiness of the customer. Sometimes you have to be very comfortable talking about money, and sometimes the sales team takes care of that. One note for all of you who are interviewing for customer success positions, in my positions, interviewed for my team a lot of customer success managers. Um, some questions I would ask in an interview would be to ask them, I will say when I left Discovery Education and went out on my own and I was building from the boardroom and educators to educators to fund my new company, I did consulting work for a couple of large education companies that many of you would know. And I helped them write their customer success playbook. And what was really interesting to me is these very experienced executives. One of the books I'm going to recommend to you later is about customer success. They don't know customer success is pretty new. And so oftentimes CEOs and leaders didn't quite know how to set it all up. And so this could lead to some frustration around compensation. So I would definitely make sure when you're in interviews, you want to ask questions about this tension that sometimes can exist between sales and customer success about owning what. So you could say, can you tell me about how you generate qualified leads for your company? So who's doing that? How much of marketing is taking that on, how much is sales? You could say, could you explain an overview of the customer journey? What is the customer journey look like? How long does it last? Who owns what? Um, who owns the implementation and actual technical setup of the product? Who owns the account renewals? You want to know, is that sales or customer success? Another really interesting question that you could ask, and I plan on doing another live about this, is how are customers segmented? This is another thing that customers, companies often come to me for help on. It's like, how the heck do we segment the customers we have now, but then also think about the customers we're going to have in the future, and what is our team going to look like, and how do we sorry, I'm gonna get back to notes. 1 second. So a couple of things before I move into our Q&A. I know some of you on LinkedIn are a little behind where I am, so I'm going to let you guys have some time. I'm going to talk. So at this point, if you want to start putting questions in the chat, one thing I do want to tell you about while we're waiting is a couple of things around what's coming up next that I'm going to share with you some book recommendations of things you can read, some of my favorite books. So first of all, we have a brand new cohort opening. So I work in cohorts. Right now we have a cohort of 25 transitioning educators. This is their last to help them get some interviews um, and get their name out there. But they go through 4 months of training with me. And so right now we are getting ready to launch the spring cohort. And that cohort will start April 1st. We open up the doors for that in a few weeks here. If you want to get on the wait list to hear all about it and to get signed up to work with me personally, you really get to know me. You learn, I mean, what I'm teaching today is literally scratching the surface. Those of you that are in the winter cohort that are here today can attest to that. But if you go to link in bio, you're going to see in there a lot of like there's blogs and all types of different things. If you click on this image here, spring cohort roadmap, click on that. That will get you into the wait list. And actually, if you're on the wait list, you get to the opportunity to sign up for Classroom to Boardroom 2 days before everyone else on my email list and on social media. I do limit the spots. If you've been following me for a while, you know that I am anti, like, I don't want to run a factory of transitioning teachers. I want to have a nice, good number of teachers that I can really get to know and help transition. Um, if you are curious, here is the timeline. I'll just go over this quickly. I don't want to lose too many of you, but I definitely want to get on to, also, for those of you that are interested, tell you what this looks like, and then I'll get on to Q&A and my book recommendations. So the timeline will look like this. In April, as of April 1st, you will get into our community, which our community is strong, and you'll complete my 7-day Kickstart course. And then in April and May, you'll start working on brushing up your LinkedIn profile, your resume, your cover letters, your job search, and then you will complete a half an hour coaching session one-on-one with Jessica, who's here. I saw her name in the live. Thanks so much for being here, Jess. She is like the resume guru. Then in May and June, we start. I like this timing because many of you are still teaching, so it allows you to kind of round out the school year, and then we dig in. You get all my courses: marketing, sales, customer success, the stuff we're talking about today, but like deep in there. We talk about product, instructional design, professional development, operations, HR, recruiting, finance, all of those things. You do that independently on your own time. And then in June, we really dig into interviewing, and you have a half an hour one-on-one career coaching with me. And in the July, you are full on interviewing while completing my product ed tech school. And then you can stay part of the community. So get on that wait list if you are interested in that. We would love, love, love to have you. So let's talk for a second. Please get those questions coming. I can't wait to see what you guys want to know. I want to quickly show you. So I am, let me pull up a link here. I have all of these books that I'm going to talk about are in my, if you go to that link in bio again, I'll show that again, carrieconover.com, link in bio. You can see there also a link of my recommended books and go to my Amazon store. It is helpful to me if you purchase through the Amazon store. I do get a little kickback. And as a small business owner, I appreciate it. So let's talk through for sales marketing, marketing and customer success, some of my favorite books for you to read. So number one is StrengthsFinder. So StrengthsFinder by Tom Rath is it was a Wall Street Journal bestseller forever. It might still be. Um, so there's an assessment you take with StrengthsFinder, and then you get a report. And the whole concept is I think there's 33 different strengths that people can have. So you can be like an achiever, adaptability, context, empathy. And what it does is it tells you, hey, here are your 5 biggest strengths. Lean into them. Stop trying to make up for your deficiencies and lean into your strengths. And I'm going to tell you, I took this probably about a year after I started working at the first eSpark, or the first year I was out of the classroom and working in a company. And then I took it again, maybe right after when I was starting E2E, so 7 years ago. 4 of my 5 strengths were the same. There was one that changed. It was like I changed in one of them was more like strategic, and I think that's because I was an entrepreneur. But like one of my biggest strengths is woo. And I didn't even know, I'm like, what is woo? But I learned so much about myself. So if you're on this career journey, go to that link in bio, click on my recommended books, and purchase this Strength Finder. I'm telling you, game changer. It'll help you talk about yourself in interviews. The second book I want you to read, this is a great marketing book. Oh my gosh, Donald Miller's amazing. Whether you want to go into, I don't care what you want to do in an education company. If you're going from being a teacher and changing your mind into the business world, this is a great one. It talks about how you build a brand. He speaks in like, this was such an easy read because he speaks in such clear, concise language, and there's like a plan that you fill out like as you're doing this. And so it would be really great. You can work on a story brand for yourself. I used this when branding E2E, like we help teachers love their careers again, came from this. This book I read as a team book that we read at Discovery Education. I'll be honest, I haven't finished the whole thing because I just didn't have time, but I've read a good chunk of it. This is so great. So this one I would say, I'll be back here. This is for like everyone to read this. This one, if you're going to work in a business, is good, but I mean, marketing, if you're thinking about going to marketing, you better read this book. Fierce Conversations, this is a really, really good one. Talking about like hard conversations at work, but also for sales and customer success. Great read. And finally, if you're going into customer success, this is like one of the Bibles of customer success here. What I love about this book is that like the first thing I just read when I flipped it open is customer success is not customer support. It goes through the whole like history of how customer success came about. And what I was talking about earlier when I was saying that customer success is new, and so not all leaders know how to like run a customer success team. This is a good read. So again, you can find those all in my link in bio. Click on the pictures of my recommended books. And then if you want to sign up for our new cohort waitlist, that's also on there, and that begins March 21st. Okay, I'm going to run over to the comments to see if anyone. Okay, I'm going to start answering questions. I'm going to go from the latest to the newest, and then I'll hop on LinkedIn and see if there's any questions there. Someone said, can you say one more time how to access the waitlist? Absolutely. So I can put the link in the comments as well. It's kind of a longer link. So give me 1 second and I'll pull that up. Sorry, 1 second here. So I'm going to give you that link, and it's just basically like a little survey, and then you'll be on our mailing list so that I can send you when it opens. So it's going to be a type form. If you're not able to see that in the chat, if you go to this up in the bubble where it says Carrie Conover right here, carrieconover.com /link in bio, that's like a shortcut to all my things. You'll see something called Spring Cohort Roadmap. You'll see an image like that. Click on that, and that'll also get you that. We have a lot of actually, this is what I love about having not taking 400 transitioning teachers in classroom to boardroom in each cohort. Like, I'm looking and there's so many people in here right now that are currently on my classroom to boardroom winter cohort, and like they're here to cheer me on. Like it's reciprocal. So just want to say thank you for being here. Fierce conversations. Julie is saying fierce conversations is so powerful. I agree. It's it's so important that we're good communicators. It's easy to be a good communicator when you are like, "Have a good day," and everything's going fine and dandy, right? But it's hard to be a good communicator when things are tough or you have to have a fierce conversation. Lisa, thank you for saying that. Oh, you guys are all sweet. Do CSMs typically get commission? Great question, Erin. So this is what I'm talking about asking questions in interviews. So usually, um, salespeople have a base. So right now, I place a lot of salespeople in companies. So I also work as a recruiter for several education companies, and they're always looking for sales. So sales and customer success, I'm seeing where sales is based might be a little bit less, but not actually not a ton less, but with a huge bonus potential. So I know people that have made like six-figure bonuses in sales plus. So they're going to be a huge upside. Customer success, the base is usually a little bit higher, and then you will have a performance bonus. Sometimes there is commission. I'm a big fan of customer success having a commission on renewals and expansions. Again, you really need to dig in with the company to ask these questions. Um, I will say one of the reasons I left one of the companies I worked for is because this was very murky and unclear, and I was bringing in a lot of dough, and I was not seeing what I mean. I got bonuses, but I wasn't seeing what I deserved. So if you're going to be a CSM, definitely ask questions about okay, I'm gonna pop over to LinkedIn to see if there's any comments that I want to answer before I go. Oh my gosh, so many sweet comments for from all of you. Okay, I'm not seeing any other questions, so I can hang out here and wait if there are any. Oh, here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Okay. Um, where's your Amazon list for books? Thank you for asking. I will put that linked in, or I'll put that link in here as well. Um, you can again go to the Carrie Conover .com backslash LinkedIn bio as well. Here we go. Give me a link to here. One, as I put this in here, can someone test this to make sure it works, please? The link in bio link. Or I'm sorry, the here we go. Oh, cool. I didn't know I could do this on StreamYard. Any of my comments I can put up here. And look at this. Oh my God. StreamYard is so cool. I'm genuinely so excited about this. So while I'm waiting, I'll just pull some of these up while I'm waiting for questions. Kimberly, thank you so much. Aw. Oh, thank you, Kim. Thank you for doing that. And by the way, I have to say, people have asked us before, I do not give out like commissions to people, like affiliate. I don't do any affiliate marketing because I used to do it and it was like I didn't want it to be like people were just no one was doing it to make money, but I didn't want it to be interpreted. So I don't do any. So I'm not paying Kim a dollar. She's in the cohort. Do most tech companies have uncapped commission for SDRs? Yes. I'm trying to think of one company I've worked with or recruited for that had a cap. I can't think of one. I can't think of one. So go kill it. And if you're interested in being an SDR or if you currently are, I can't see from LinkedIn like what your title is, but it's a great question to think about. Like, are you willing to work somewhere that caps it? Let's see. Thanks for the knowledge. Thanks for being here, Carissa. This is Laurel. Thank you so much. Oh, thank you so much. It's gonna make me cry. Uh, oh, the Amazon books. I put that link up here. Let's see. Okay, they answered that. Good answer, Laurel. I see that you said sales with the support of CM and marketing. I think Laurel, like, she'd be good in sales. I tell you. If you want to be a trainer or a consultant, I noticed Julie said that, and so I don't have no question about that, but I can talk about that. Um, let's see. So sorry, I'm going through the question. So just really quick, consultant or trainer? I would say if you're going to go down the route of being consultant or trainer, keep in mind that a lot of these jobs are contract roles. So you need to think. I have a whole thing on financial. Actually, we have a magazine. Our spring digital magazine is coming out this week, and I wrote an article about finances. So check that out. But before I go down too much of a tangent, with training, a lot of like I know at Discovery Education, they were all 1099 contract employees, and you can make really good money. As a matter of fact, I almost did that while I was to earn money to fund E2E, and then things kind of took up quicker than I thought. But you usually get paid like they pay your flight, hotel, and maybe like a per diem, and then you got a per day um, fee for doing professional development. So you probably these days a lot more of them are travel or I'm sorry, not travel, virtual, but you also probably need to be able to travel. You also need to be able to provide your own health insurance, 401k, all of that good stuff. So if you have any more questions about that, go ahead and let me know. Let me look up because I saw another question. I want to make sure you get to. If not the cohort, something else. What would the okay? So I do one-on-one coaching. It is $200 an hour. Um, and I give 50% off on my coaching. Like if you're in the cohort, you get 50% off that. Plus you get a half an hour free. But I don't have the capacity to regularly coach. So like if you need help with kind of figuring out what direction to go in, you want me to look at your resume, you want to talk about what's going wrong in interviews, we could do that. We could do a couple of one-on-ones. But I always tell people by the time you do 2 or 3 coaching sessions with me, you've paid for Classroom to Boardroom. And Classroom to Boardroom, I mean, I cannot tell you, like, I have dumped all my knowledge and brains into that course. And so you can like listen to it in the car. Plus, you get to know me. So, like, if you excel in the cohort, you're on the top of my list when people call me to ask for recruiting. So, one question I've been getting a lot is like, what's going on with recruiting? Everything seems really slow. I will tell you, December and January and February, I was like, I'm getting nervous for my own business. Like, what's going on? Last week, I'm one who says just give it time. Last week, 3 of the companies I recruit for called me all in 1 week that they're ready to start hiring. So anyway, the cohort honestly is the way to go. We have principals and administrators in there. We have teachers. Um, yep, you're welcome, Erin. Oh yeah, that's thank you, Kimberly. You can also start by being in the community for $20 a month. So that's also an option. I am going to wrap up here. I'm not seeing too many other questions. I'm going to be doing more of these live. So thank you all so much for being here and participating. I'm going to put up one more time a couple of links for you. So if you want my book recommendations for transitioning educators, it's amazon.com/shop/Carrie Conover. I also have in there is like some of my desk essentials. And then there's some on there too, because I was promoting on social media like gifts for teenage girls, because I have a teenage girl. But I also have like I just started this Amazon store, but the desk essentials, the one thing I will say for that is if you're setting up a desk, and I can actually even screen share here really quick. Okay, here we go. So with my, just to make sure. Okay. So with my in my Amazon store is my desk essential. So if you're setting up a desk, a work from home desk, I've worked from home for 7 years. These are by far some of my favorite things. I'll highlight for you some of my favorite. First of all, this desk clamp power strip is probably the best thing I've purchased this year. You clamp it onto the back of your desk, and then all the plugins are right there. Um, like, so right now, I wish I could show you mine. Like, it's so great, and there's a USB, a USB, and 2 plugins, so you can just switch things in and out. This is probably, like, my favorite thing I've bought all year. This is right here on my desk, this pegboard. I love this thing. Like, I love, love, love it. I have charging cords up there. I have all my little things that get in the way. If you want speakers, these are a great, like, affordable option. This is probably the best charging station I've ever had. I actually moved this to my bedroom and ordered another one for my desk. You can do your watch, your AirPods, a phone, and some headphones. And there's one cord that charges all of this, and you whatever cord came with your headphone, you can plug into the back of this. I love that thing. Um, and I also really love this this Logitech. This is if you were interviewing, you started from scratch, this is what I would do. I would get a you can get monitors for super cheap right now. So like my setup is a monitor and then my computer's right here down below me. This Logitech ProCam webcam is really high quality and you can set it up anywhere. Like it clips on the top of my monitor. So like right now I can actually look at all of you. So if I was setting it up for interviewing, I would do this. I would do this plus some type of a nice microphone. You can get something less expensive than this. I use this actually for podcasting. This table stand is great for interviewing. So I have my iPad over to my left here on this, and it's great if you want to keep notes for questions that you might get and you're nervous. So this is another great box. I did not think I was going to go down this Amazon rabbit hole. This light is also one of the favorite things I have on my desk. I'm obsessed with this light. I put it up on top of this big board and it's fantastic. Okay, so um, check that out at my Amazon store if you are interested. Let me stop my screen share. If you're interested in getting on the wait list, go to the carrieconover.com/link in bio. You're going to click on where it says Spring Cohort Roadmap and sign up there. The sign up starts March 21st. If you're on the wait list, you get in the doors 2 days early. I'm actually going to take a break and then I'm hopping on over to a TikTok live. I'm going to, in that TikTok live, talk a little bit about this in a shorter way, but that might be a fun, more informal way to interact with all of you. If you're on TikTok, you can find me on Carrie Conover. Let me know in the comments for this live if you want me to do more of these and what topics you want me to cover. Take care, everyone, and everyone that's in the current winter cohort that showed up today. Mwah, thank you so much for being here.